Greetings, fellow geeks, and welcome to Pretend Low Earth Orbit for news transmission number 672 at Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Malden. Tonight, we're talking about the 1999 documentary American Movie, the story of a Midwestern filmmaker just trying to make the great American masterpiece. But I would only attempt this with Nate Ostendorp.
It's amazing.
Rob Roseboom.
Hello.
And Chris DeBona.
186 minutes of long distance? Prime minutes?
Yeah, this movie's a whole thing, man. Rob, tell us about it.
So this movie is a favorite of mine. It sits in my wheelhouse. It is the story of a young man who just wants to make the greatest indie horror film ever. Unfortunately, he is surrounded by incompetence. Including himself, mostly himself.
He is his own worst enemy.
It is funny. At times, it's very sad and raw.
Yeah.
And it hits all the sweet spots that Rob likes in a movie.
Yeah, this one's dark, but like it's too real, man. There's too much real in this movie. It hurt.
Yeah, it's the story of someone who believes in himself, and you're not exactly sure why.
The other part of this for me is just like being set in the Midwest. Like a lot of the tropes really resonate with myself also, being that age.
For me watching this, like a lot of sort of what he is interested in. Like, I guess I could say I could see myself going in this direction if life had been different.
Yeah.
For me.
And like half the houses and outdoor places and stuff could absolutely be in Holland, Michigan.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I've only been to Holland a couple of times to visit y'all, but I'm just like, wow, this is my picture of Michigan when I've spoken at like MSU or like in other parts of the state, not Ann Arbor. I'm like, wow, there's
a lot of space.
Midwest.
There's a lot of space. Not enough money to spread out over it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things about this I like, but the thing that I think, and I think we'll kind of get to this, but what's interesting to me is how this movie starts at a point in time, but then it keeps revealing to you more things about the backstory of the production. And
there's this one thing.
Yeah, and every time,
but
like, I don't know if anybody put a note in it, but like, it's about halfway through where they reveal that he has a kid.
Not kids, not just a kid. Kids. He has 3 kids.
Yeah, and you're just like, how can? Oh no.
Yeah.
How is he taken care of? Oh no, he's not.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get to the beginning of this thing, and feel the burn. It starts off really weird. There's a whole lot of like them kind of just explaining and cutting. It's 5 minutes before you get to the title credits or the title card, and that's an artsy fartsy move that this movie does not deserve.
Movie, and this time I cannot fail. I won't fail. It's not in me. You don't get second chances and mess them up. You'd be a fool to. Not just finishing films or in the long run getting some money, but it's right now. I feel like it's, like I said, 5, 10, 15 years ago. Now I've got the same options again, and this time I'm not going to fail.
So I just love everything he says there because none of it is true. It's just the movie sets up like he is going to really try, and you're almost rooting for him because you don't know about him yet. And then as the movie slowly progresses, you're like, oh, you are absolutely going to fail again.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But he does have.
It's gonna keep on happening.
He does have some of the sweetest '90s technology that you will ever see.
No, I wanted to point out I adore this laptop and that particular beard with that particular mullet, and to a certain extent the glasses is like, if I squint,
do it.
It looks like Rob Malda, 1996, man. Like,
It really does.
I don't think I ever had a mullet, but yeah, I have no defense.
I mean, I'm just gonna ask: is this person related to you, Rob?
Nope.
Are you sure?
I mean, I guess I don't have like the ancestry.com DNA tree with him showing up in it, but I mean, I guess it's possible. We both share a love of cinema, a creative core, maybe the inability to successfully implement any of said creative core. But no, he's not me. But yeah, okay, so the movie takes place, I mean, there's shots from the 90s, and then I think this would be like maybe 96, because it goes to like 96, 97, 98 through the different filming. So I'm trying to peg this laptop, because I'm not even sure that's a real laptop.
It's either a Toshiba.
It looks like a word processor. It looks like one of those late 80s word processing things.
Yeah, it really does. I'm trying to remember who made them. Brother made a bunch of those word processors, clamshell.
Oh wait, we had to do a run there, didn't we?
Yep, there it is.
Or this is the 12th hour. Lisa,
no, we didn't have a note there. I'm on top of my game today. Now we see the second star of the movie, and maybe the real star of the movie.
Yeah, really.
So for me, the real star of this movie is Bill. Bill is my spirit animal.
Totally.
But Mike here is the greatest sidekick of all sidekicks. He's right up there with like Robin,
We used to do a lot of partying together, but I don't party anymore.
He is filled with a pretty non-stop stream of like kind of sad moments from his past. Also, he depresses me because he's better at guitar with me, even blindfolded.
He's great on the guitar.
I know.
So I want to point something out. So you saw how that was cut, where it was cut, right? So the director of this is the same guy who directed Tiger King and
Really?
Fire Festival documentary. So it's like, I think you're seeing in this the beginning of his kind of style of just like let the people be who they are and then cut it perfectly.
Yeah. I did not know that. That's
so it's kind of great,
So
everything comes back to Tiger King.
Yeah, I wanted to highlight, in case you missed it, that Mike does the music for this whole movie.
Nice.
He's not just a pretty face, gentlemen.
He's so much more.
He's not just talent. He works.
Just play it for a little bit.
Arrived? Oh, God. Kick fucking ass. I got a MasterCard.
And that hurts all the more because of the extended sequence later on where he's enumerating his debts. So that rings so much more painful. I love this flyer. This desperation in this flyer is great. He needs literally every age. He needs literally every position.
70s.
Also the crew.
Yeah, every position in the crew needs to be filled. All the actors need to be cast.
Yep.
Yeah.
He needs it all. We meet a bunch of his childhood chums. We see flashback footage.
And his brother, who absolutely hates him.
Yeah.
And is convinced he's a psychopath.
Yeah. This moment, I love this.
As we float past dilapidated duplexes, worn trailer courts, and I've been location scouting them, so when I do this, I've already got what's in between my hands. And
that is a lie. Or maybe it's 100% real. He just possesses zero ability to put what is between his hands into film.
On a piece of film?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's hard, turns out.
The one thing I wanted to point out is that for all of our joking, Mark Borchardt has a YouTube channel.
Really?
And it has 4 times the subscribers.
Oh, He's got
And
like
he hasn't posted a video for 7 years.
oh
This movie,
four times our
movie-
subscriber base.
yeah, this movie was the greatest thing that ever happened to him.
Oh,
Set
yeah.
him up with regular
Yeah,
gigs.
sure.
I would actually love to know what that because at the end of this movie they plug the AmericanMovie.com website and everything, and I don't know if you guys bothered to watch, but I have Coven attached to the end of this file, and I watched it.
I have not watched it.
Don't.
Yeah.
That is my advice to you, Rob Roseboom.
Because wait, so Rob, knowing your taste in movies, you're saying that it's not a good movie?
Here's what I'm gonna say. Today, I watched Coven and The Stuff. And let me tell you, The Stuff is awesome. Coven might be the worst thing that I've seen in months.
The Stuff
And also,
is one of
isn't
my
it
guilty
Coven?
pleasure movies.
Everyone calls it Coven.
I know.
It's Coven.
I know.
Everyone in this movie,
no.
Coven.
Out of
He's
respect
very
for
clear.
Mark.
You can't say coven; it rhymes with oven.
Yeah. Anyway, this may be one of my favorite lines of his in the whole movie.
They're making a mockery out of my words, man. This whole thing has turned into a theatrical mockery. Do you understand that, Mike?
No.
Well, you will.
No.
And then he does it. No, you got to play him doing it. It's so funny. If you don't mind going back.
Oh, I need to back up.
Yeah, just go back to that scene where you're just at.
We've been living together since high school. She dropped out. I graduated. Her dad sold a house.
Is that the
it's
one?
almost paid off.
Oh no, I'm 10 off.
No.
Sorry.
No, it was 10-11. So is Zen's mark, but if you let it play, start at like 10:22.
And they're
and then hit.
flying, man. And read this fucker like it's supposed to be read, because I've had it.
Here it is.
You stupid fucking bitch! This is 186 fucking minute phone call at goddamn prime time.
I paid the fucking bill!
I mean, that was a hell of a performance from that gal, I gotta say.
Well, the crazy thing to me is that he's getting in there and doing the parts and doing line reads and stuff to these actors, and there's nothing that they can do that's enough. Like, his energy level is so huge. Like, he's got to be just disappointed with every single shot because nobody's insane.
So he has many faults, right? Many. But one of them is not that he's lazy. The dude puts in work, right?
Yeah.
He has a bunch of different jobs. He really tries. He's just,
And they really belabor this at the end, where there's like a pretty long, like minute or two long sequence of him just cleaning at the funeral or the graveyard where he works. I mean, the guy's not a slacker, but the constant railing, and it definitely increases in cadence as the movie goes on, just like the cursing out manual labor jobs. Like it gets really bad. Like, you can see what this guy's looking at. It's real, man. Oh.
No way. I have absolutely no fucking money. I have no hope of getting any money until Coven is finished.
Coven.
Aesthetically, I'm not ready. The script is not ready. The casting...
Yeah. His realization here
hasn't even begun. The locations are scant at best.
He's in over his head, and he's there's a lot of parts to this. So the movie starts off and he's filming Northwestern, and then he can't make Northwestern, so then he's going to make Coven.
He's going to finish
Coven, a 30-minute film that he started using footage that he filmed already like 6 or 7 years ago. I mean, good for him. I've never made a 30-minute movie.
It's true.
A student, but he qualified for the gifted schooling system they have in Milwaukee.
So this is where you learn that this is the Minnesota version of Rushmore.
Yeah.
They don't have any money. He just was really good at writing, news broadcast plays, radio plays, and yeah.
and he can be pretty convincing, you know, because he's very assertive, very aggressive. And but what he actually can do, I think that he's just best suited for working in a factory, maybe.
That's his brother, man.
Yep.
That's his brother.
He's loud. He's basically got alpha male energy, you know, asserting his way through the universe and nothing to back it up. And his brother is the only one in this whole movie, I think, that actually like says it.
And is that what you want to do with your life? Suck down peppermint schnapps and try to call Morocco at 2 in the morning? That's senseless, but that's what happens, man. So anyway, we're out here.
I want that like on a poster.
Yep.
You know?
Sucking down peppermint schnapps and calling Morocco.
Calling Morocco at 2 in the morning.
That's what happens, man.
And you can't help it. That's just what happens.
But how does it happen?
So I will also say now, having watched Coven, seeing these shots in the context of this is actually kind of funny because all these shots show up obviously in the movie and they're not good in the movie, but they sure did put a lot of work into them.
Oh God,
Check this out. Fuck this, man. I'm sorry for erasing that, but it's 3,000 units for 45 grand. Because if I...
So I'm wondering if Nate had the same reaction. I'm like, man, that's the way you do budgeting right there.
Yeah.
Some whiteboard and you're, ah!
Screw it.
I'm sorry I erased the one number I wanted. And I'm just like, I'm watching that. I was crying. It was so funny.
No,
Yeah.
Financial models, projections.
Yep. And then the whole rest of the movie, now that's the first time I think that you really hear that 3,000 units number, because he drops that then through the rest of the movie. It's all about selling 3,000 units at $15 a pop. And I got to tell you, I guarantee he's done that, right? He just from American Movie, he has to have sold
In
15.
his Wikipedia page, it actually lists how many, or at least some number about how many copies he sold. And I mean, it was tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
You know,
This guy did all right.
well,
I mean, relatively speaking.
So by 2004, Borchardt had sold 5,100 copies of Coven.
There you go.
Coven at $14.95.
He beat his needs. Well, I guess poor Bill didn't live to see the profits, but
It's true.
That's a spoiler, right?
Mark, I have so much to do.
And I'm doomed. I'm doomed. I'm
What
doomed.
am I supposed to do?
Just stand there.
His mother loves him so much.
no, like
Yes, she does.
how he browbeats his mother into participating in his film is just, it's amazing.
And like there's scenes later on that are truly extraordinary, like when they're doing the editing and stuff, like she's just in there helping. And like she loves him. And like isn't there the scene where she can't frame a shot to get him in the camera? Oh man, that's rough.
And I'm glad we're doing this today because I was really getting down and out, and thank God they extended my phone bill till Friday and lowered it too. But anyway, so today...
His soliloquies, I think I might have marked them all just because I love them. Because sometimes he's brutally honest with himself, but most of the time they're just rambling, you know. That was about the American dream.
Within weeks, the film will be cut, finished, mixed, throw it an optical track on the release print, get it onto 3/4 inch, bump it down to 1/2 inch for multiple sales. What do you think about that?
Multiple sales to who?
I freaking love Bill.
Bill is awesome.
And as you watch, you learn more that Bill himself is kind of a poet. Like he has that in him. He's just old and has decided that he is going to die soon.
Yep.
Doesn't want to be bothered with anyone, just wants to drink. And I think he has, well, you'd learn for sure at the end. He gets annoyed with Mark, but he holds a very sweet spot in his heart for Mark. You can tell he appreciates
Yeah.
that he is willing to go out there and do this crazy shit. He just, is unconvinced that he's ever going to be successful.
He respects the hustle, but I think he also, like brother Alex, knows that this is really not destined to be what he wants it to be. The other thing that I really like here was his whole like monologue about the process of what's going to happen, and he says this several times with the film. He's always talking about how it's going to be shot on beautiful 16 millimeter film, and then he talks about like the conversion processes, like the technical aspects of this are very important to our young filmmaker. And he knows what he's...
that the story, the acting, the dialogue aren't.
Everything else is suspect.
So the note I had along with this is what just freeze on this scene for a sec. I saw this whole movie as basically like an old piece of electronics that had that plastic that turns yellow in UV light. It's like I kept on seeing these colors, these kind of sickly, gross colors, and it's kind of like Bill's skin. I mean, look at his skin and you're like, oh, this guy, he's got a bit of jaundice, his liver's failing, shit's going down with Bill. But really, isn't the shit that's going down with Bill also happening to the double wide behind him and everything in this show? So it's just like this show has an aesthetic, and it's jaundice skin,
This sequence is really uncomfortable. Oh, and I guess I'll try to skip through a little bit. I don't know if Nate's next mark was this, or because they do this a couple of times, and then there's a shot later on where they like are scoring the board so he can actually penetrate it.
And like, oh yeah, man, no, like,
That poor guy. There we go. Like they're chainsawing they're skill sawing the board so that they can actually smash it.
He can actually break it with his head.
Ugh. I mean, you wouldn't think about that. Well, I mean, he wouldn't. I think I would, but I don't know. I probably would try to get somebody to smash their head into a cupboard. I wouldn't be any better. I know.
After you, so you'd get out here into the cemetery with your beer and your film camera, and you were one with the world and equal with the world. It was a vast work field.
You'd always say that he was going to be a
He's a wise man.
One with the world.
Actually, I was
equal with the world.
I screwed that time one up, that time stamp up. I was trying to get where he's having the conversation about whether or not it's pronounced coven or coven.
Coven.
He had a movie camera in one hand and beer in another.
I like his whole thing. Like it's and I think that this is emphasized later on with some of the shots. Like clearly 5, 6, 7 years ago, he hung around with a film camera and his buddies in the graveyard, and he wants that back.
Last movie he took you to?
Apocalypse Now.
Did you like it?
He kept saying the horrors.
Because, why not take your elementary school kids to go see Apocalypse
Now?
It's a children's show.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Lottery. I think it's like when you play the lottery, sometimes you win and sometimes you lose, but it's better than using drugs or alcohol, because when you use drugs or alcohol, especially drugs, you always lose.
Oh, Mike.
I saw a lot of after school special commercials. I'm glad that it registered to someone. Always felt weird to me.
My next mark is also a Mike quote here.
I was so happy that I found someone who would drink vodka with me, So and then Mark would drink vodka with me all the time. We'd I'd go over there all the time and we'd buy a fifth of vodka and we'd share it,
You know, friendships have been forged on less.
Yeah, just the best thing. Someone to drink vodka with.
Vodka.
For you. So here's to the joys we had together when we met in June. Let us be the way we were. Sorry, I miss you so much since you died.
Yeah. Bill is a ray of sunshine.
Blacklight sunshine.
Yeah, I love Bill.
Yeah, and they say it in a couple points. He was a scholar. He was apparently, a fairly educated man in his youth.
Well, yeah. Well, what he was reading there was he would write
Yeah.
poems and lyrics to songs.
Yep.
Oh no.
Oh no, indeed.
What do you know that we don't?
Well, I won $50 on a lottery ticket today, but I don't want them guys to know, because otherwise they'll want to borrow money from me.
The lottery tickets are a running thing through the movie too. Like here's the $50 later on. He's got the thing about the winning $200.
Well, yeah, and he goes to buy scratch offs with his sponsor, who is also in Gamblers Anonymous.
Yeah.
So they leave AA, they go to the gas station, buy scratch offs, and then they go to Gamblers Anonymous.
Like you do.
Maybe they think that scratch offs aren't gambling.
Trying to face up to who I am and shit like that, but I can't. I don't know why, man. It's like I know where I want to be and what I want to do, and so I don't know how I'm going to come out of all of this stuff.
Yeah. Hackers.
Reality. There's a little bit of reality for you.
This is the last gasp. He's at the end of the creative part of his life. This is good documentary making material. This is real. Man. Feel for this guy.
Feel for his kids. Boy.
Well, there's also that.
I hope this is the beginning of a long relationship. I'll tell you what, man, that scared the shit out of me. Years of vacuuming at a cemetery, man. I don't see how people can go year after year at these fucking stupid jobs and not want to make something of themselves. I don't get it, man.
Just.
Yep.
Wow.
He's honest.
This part, I think, it's kind of heartbreaking. It's also kind of great how his kids sleep over with him in the film editing room at the university while he's doing Coven. Like, I don't know. That just tugged at my heartstrings there.
I think that's because we're adults. I'm sure those kids are having a blast, right? They get to hang out with their dad, have a sleepover. This is great for them. It's just with an adult eye, you look at it and you're like, ugh.
There's a couple of shots too where he's got the camera or whatever, and he reaches behind, tinks the finger of one of his kids sitting behind him. I don't know how much of that is real and how much of it was just good editing to make it line up, but man, they did a really good job here. Those kids.
Well, I hate to put it this way, but it's like kids don't know they're poor. They don't know this is weird. Right. They just get to spend time with their dad at his dad's work. It's it's kind of great. I'm sure that there's no beef about that. It's not like the university people came in and said, "Get out of here with these kids." It's
right.
Well, I don't believe nothing what you're doing.
All right, give it.
This when they're trying to get him to say it's all right, it's okay. Jesus loves you. He told me so. I think that's the line. And
yeah.
After 80 times, and Bill is done. Bill
Yeah.
is finally done saying that shit over and over again.
I think that they get up to like take 32 or something. And I'll tell you, one of the takes from this movie is the take that's used in the real movie. And so when this happens in the real movie, it sounds just as fake and just as forced. And it's really funny having seen this part.
I love that he's sitting on a tarp.
Checking my pockets for the acid, which they analyzed one hit. It turned out to be a blotter of paper dipped in liquid PCP with a little bit of downer in it. And they said if it hadn't have been for that little bit of downer, I would be dead. But anyways, I'm checking my pockets for the acid, you know, because I was going to drop my other 3 hits in the hospital, you know.
This is such a great drug story.
Yeah.
It only had PCP in it, so I guess I'll just take more.
When I woke up in the hospital from taking this bad acid, I was going to take the rest of it.
Right.
That man has learned nothing.
This is where you learn Mike's other great talent.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I had forgotten about this. I'll back up so we can get the whole thing.
1.
Play it.
Do I need more?
Yeah, play it.
That was wicked, man.
Finally, someone who can act.
That was intense.
See his heart exploding.
These two are barely in this documentary, but they're a pretty big part of
Coven.
Of Coven, yeah. They're like the leaders of the Coven or whatever. And like a third of the movie is actually like the Coven like hanging around in what appears to be an Alcoholics Anonymous support group kind of thing where they talk about their Coven, and these guys are like the leaders, and that's like a ton of the movie, and that's not really shown in this documentary at all. So I wonder if they shot all that in like one day.
I really like this guy because you can tell he absolutely considers himself a real actor,
An
a thespian.
Actor.
A thespian. The editing part is interesting too, because he kind of has a bit of a breakdown.
Oh.
On top of a bunch of newspapers.
Yeah.
And they were like, the newspapers were like the Wisconsin Light, okay? So some guy came in to replace the old copies of the Wisconsin Light.
Yeah.
With new ones.
Yeah.
And took the old ones.
Yeah.
And he took the flyers that were on top of the old ones, and took off with them because he didn't realize that they were our flyers.
That's just the perfect example of not only is he inept, all the people who help him, they've lost all his flyers, and that's the explanation of why they can't market their movie now because of those idiots.
I had to clean it up, man, but before that, for about 10 to 15 seconds, man, I just stared at somebody's shit, man. To be totally honest with you, man, it was a really, really profound moment. So I was thinking, I'm 30 years old, and in about 10 seconds, I got to start cleaning up somebody's shit, man.
I do like his shirt. It says "Splice here." I just wanted to note this is the first time I think that we've watched a movie where I've put in the show notes that there's a second title card.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty excited about that.
I was very happy for you.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And they show basically the first couple minutes of the movie and then like the last like 30 seconds of the movie basically.
You know, it's funny. He's kind of on the borderland of being kind of like a little bit of a John Waters in some of the shots in Coven. you're like, he's got an eye for the grotesque, for lack of a better word. It's like,
Yeah, watch the actual movie. You might
I
change
won't
your
do
mind.
that, so
Yeah, but don't.
Yeah.
And for me, I could listen to this last little bit of Bill in the movie over and over again because it's just like, it's probably the most raw part of this movie. Bill at this point in his life is just explaining how he doesn't have any dreams anymore. He's basically sitting in this trailer, drinking schnapps, hanging out with Mark and waiting to die.
What dreams are that? Is that?
What's your American dream?
I don't have any dreams anymore.
You don't?
No.
You can't stop now. What are you gonna do? Sit around outside of a trailer? We'll film you sitting outside of a trailer, man, but we ain't gonna live sitting outside of a trailer.
Where else am I gonna sit?
Well, you're gonna...
This is good documentary filmmaking, right? You have one guy who still is like holding on to the last bit of his dream, and another guy who's it's done. He's just waiting to punch out. It registers real, man.
Play this part here. Oh, that's then. You missed it a little bit.
Yep.
Not important. You don't need to hear more sad stuff from Bill.
Right. Because he dies. September 13th, 1997.
But he leaves Mark $50K. So
He did.
Make his freaking movie.
Which I guess is the happiest possible ending for a really sad movie. We gotta watch something funny next time. Whose turn is it?
Parts of this are hilarious.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
I think it's your turn, Mr. Mull.
Oh, because my next pick ain't happy.
Coven.
It's right. It's gonna be Coven.
Northwestern.
I can scrub through it a little bit here, but it's all horribly underexposed and then sometimes horribly overexposed. Like it is technically really, really tough to watch.
16 millimeter film is a bear.
For sure.
It's so hard to get it well developed. It's so hard to light. It's all in these really small chunks that you have to cut together. This is not the easy path, so.
No, but yeah, he talked a big game about even the technical stuff, but he didn't have that even. Wow.
I would point out that September 13th is when the Candle in the Wind tribute to Diana's death came out. So I'm sure that Bill's, death would have gotten more news if it wasn't for, Princess Diana taking all the oxygen out of the system.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I hate that. It's kind of like how I quit Slashdot on the same day that Steve Jobs quit Apple.
Really, but which one's more important?
I know. I'm a close second, right? All right, folks. My movie for next week was originally selected back when we were hoping that we would do movies leading up to Halloween. So I selected the movie that scared me the most as a kid. And I say a kid, it was high school when I saw this. And I have not seen it, I don't think, since then. But I remember having nightmares for just weeks and just feeling terrified while I watched it. The movie is Jacob's Ladder.
Oh.
And I have no idea if it's good or bad.
Jacob's Ladder is fantastic.
Yeah, I like that movie.
It generally gets positive reviews, but I'm looking forward to taking another crack at it.
And it scared you?
That's the thing. Like my memories of it are like ghosts in subway cars. That's the thing I remember, and I remember just being scared to my core.
Because that movie, Jacob's Ladder, may have the most bittersweet ending of any movie ever made.
Oh, great! So I just decided to bring things even
he
further
never made
down.
It to the end, he was too scared.
That could be. It's totally possible. Well, Rob, thanks for the sad pick.
Come on. It was funny too.
It's also
It's
funny.
Strangely touching at points.
That's right. And I'm also glad that this phone call didn't last 186 minutes.
Prime minutes. Prime minutes.
Prime minutes. Thank you, Nate Ostendorp. Thank you, Chris DeBona.
Yeah.
And thank you for your pick, Rob Roseboom.
Good evening.
I was Rob Commander Taco Malda. We'll see you on Friday with the news. Bye.